Shocking new developments tonight in the search for 4 escaped inmates from the Bibb County Jail. The sheriff's office confirming just 2 hours ago, a tip they followed this morning led them to an apartment. Inside was a murder suspect, Christian Williams. I'm Frederick Price. Let's break down what we know this evening. Christian Williams has been missing since March of this year after vanishing from his front yard. His family believed 2 men kidnapped him just hours before he was set to stand trial for a 2021 murder. Well, Sheriff David Davis and others are pretty skeptical about this. Camila Williams is standing by. She'll join us live in a few minutes with an in-depth look at that part of the story. But right now, let's focus on today's developments. Sergeant Linda Howard confirming Williams is the man who fired shots at marshals arriving at the Pines on Vineville to question him about the 4 escaped inmates. Faria Abrar has been at the apartment complex all day. She joins us in studio tonight to walk us through what happened. Faria, what have you been able to find out?
Frederick, Christian Williams is still in the hospital tonight after the sheriff's office visited the Pines on Vineville. They were responding to a tip about a connection to the 4 escaped inmates. When they arrived to Unit 6 around 7 a.m., the U.S. Marshals at the door were met with gunfire.
And I don't mean to be facetious about it. This is our singular focus, is to get these individuals arrested. Everybody at the sheriff's office, everybody in local law enforcement is involved and is working to get these folks recaptured.
Sheriff David Davis says almost every Central Georgia officer is on the hunt for 4 escaped inmates, including his 500 deputies and about 50 officers with the FBI and U.S. Marshal Service. On Monday morning, a tip sent marshals to the Pines on Vineville, where officers were met with shots through the door of Unit 6. He says they stepped back and waited for Bibb County's SWAT team.
When the SWAT team came, they went back to the apartment. At that time, a person who had been inside the apartment opened the door and told them that there was a person down inside the apartment.
The sheriff says that man is Christian Williams. He shot himself, according to Davis.
I don't know what's going on.
Jose Cortez does maintenance for the apartment complex. He says he had no clue what had happened when he arrived for work Monday morning.
It's this quiet. This never happened before.
The complex has about 40 units, Cortez says, and it's less than 2 miles from the jail.
It's just following the leads. We'll follow the leads wherever they might be. If we get a lead to New York, we'll follow that.
Davis says online speculation spreading on social media hinders them from progress. Instead, he encourages people to pick up the phone.
How insignificant that it might seem, we still want them to make that call.
However, Monday's tips did not lead them to any direct suspects, but he thinks Williams has some connection to the escaped inmates.
I make that clear. He is not one of our escapees, but he is a person that we feel has knowledge of where they might be, that has knowledge of the escape, and who has some connection to at least 1 or 2 of the people whom we're looking for.
Davis says Christian Williams is recovering at Atrium Health Navicent. Now, the person who led officers to Williams was taken in for questioning. Now, the jail website says Micaiah Williams of that Vineville address is charged with helping a suspect evade authorities. The sheriff's office says she is Christian Williams' girlfriend. Frederick, back to you.
Thank you, Faria, for your reporting. We continue with our team coverage tonight. Camila Williams now joins us from the 13 WMAZ newsroom to break down what we know about Williams and his alleged kidnapping. Camila, good evening to you.
That's right, Frederick. We've been following Christian Williams' case since he allegedly escaped while on bond in March. And he was arrested 2 years ago and charged with killing Greg Watkins in a convenience store. Now in January, he was released on bond. In February, prosecutors filed a motion to revoke his bond and send him back to jail. But in March, his family sent a 16-second video to his lawyer saying this seems to be him, that he was kidnapped. Now the lawyer turned it over to authorities and a judge issued a warrant for Williams' arrest. He was wearing an ankle monitor. Now, Davis says the bond company did not notify them that the battery on Williams' monitor was dead. Both Davis and District Attorney Anita Reynolds Howard said they weren't sure if Williams' kidnapping was staged.
It's still under investigation, and so I want to make sure that we make an informed decision.
I'm not going to speculate on that, other than to say that it's unusual, that it does raise questions.
Anytime bail bonding was suspended for 90 days from tracking any suspects because the DA said this wasn't the first time they failed to track a murder suspect. Back to you, Frederick.
Thank you so much, Camila. And while the search for the 4 inmates continues, law enforcement did make a break in the case last week. On Fridays, investigators found that blue Dodge Challenger at an East Macon shopping center. Jessica Chan spent the day on North Avenue talking with people about what they saw and heard.
For some, it's a regular Monday. But for others, it's been 1 week since Bibb inmates escaped from jail.
They need to find them. Like, everybody is just walking around not knowing what's going on, so I don't feel safe at work.
Last Friday, Bibb deputies found the blue Challenger possibly used in last week's inmate escape. It was right next to the subway and the biomat and just around the corner from the state probation office. And it's also next to the dialysis center that Shakima Clark works at.
Well, we have to be to work at 4 o'clock in the morning, so that is kind of scary because you never know who's out there.
Clark said she had never noticed the car and was in complete shock when law enforcement found it.
I'm glad I wasn't at work.
But Tommy Hall was.
My job area, if I'm looking out the doors, just police officers lined around, kind of just around the parking lot area.
Hall works at El Sombrero nearby and said he had seen law enforcement and U.S. Marshals come for the car.
A customer came in the restaurant literally 2 nights ago, and he was like, hey, you know they found the blue Challenger in the parking lot. I was like, for real?
Hall said the restaurant had gotten robbed a few weeks ago and says crime is common in the area.
A lot of stuff happened in these parking lot in this area. So it's like from drugs to a lot of stuff. So yeah, I'm not surprised.
Clark says finding the car is fine, but law enforcement needs to find the inmates.
You don't know what them guys gonna do because they want to stay out of prison or jail, you know. So like I said, it's very scary.
In Macon, Jessica Cha, 13 WMAZ News.
Well, thank you, Jessica. Well, she also spoke to other people who say they believe the car picked up by deputies was not the one used in the escape. Well, according to them, the photo of the car shared by the sheriff's office looks different than the picture taken outside of the jail last week. We asked the sheriff's office about that over the weekend and asked how they knew it was the same vehicle. They declined to answer. We're told discussing those and other details of the case would hinder their investigation. And a reminder, here are the numbers to call on your screen if you have any information on where these 4 guys could be. The Bibb Sheriff's Office says you can call their tip lines or Macon Regional Crime Stoppers. They're also recommending you to call the FBI's tip line. That number on your screen, 1-800-225-5324. Again, it's 1-800-225-5324. Well, authorities are still learning more about how these 4 men escaped. We've continued to follow tips and report what we know. So tonight, as the search continues for these criminals, we're taking a look back at the last week with a day-by-day breakdown of the case. It's now a week since 4 inmates escaped from the Bibb County Jail. In a news conference Monday morning, Sheriff David Davis outlining the focus for his office.
We want to catch these guys. That is the most important thing right now, is to get these 4 individuals back into Bibb County Jail.
Pictures from the sheriff's office show a blue Dodge Challenger outside the jail late Sunday or early Monday. They suspect they aided the escapees. The 4 escaping through a second-floor day room window, and guards finding the break around 6 Monday morning. It took the sheriff's office at least 5 hours to notify the public. Authorities releasing these mugshots of the 4 men. By Tuesday, county leaders are reacting to the escape and to the long-standing health and safety problems at the jail.
What I think needs to happen is we need an honest assessment of what needs to be fixed in that jail, full-fledged inspection, and what is the full cost of it.
On Wednesday, sources connected to the jail told 13 WMAZ about staffing problems inside and how the escape happened. Someone connected with the jail sent us these pictures. We learned there were less than 10 officers on duty watching at least 800 inmates. Thursday, the reward for finding these men increasing to $73,000. Also happening on Thursday, we hear from David Rogers, brother of the late Cynthia Berry. One of the 4 escapees, Joey Fournier, is charged with killing her last year.
We still hadn't been formally notified. We were notified through the media, but from my understanding, no one knew for 5 to 6 hours after the escape happened. That's incompetent.
And on Friday, the first break, authorities finding the blue Challenger less than 2 miles from the jail. But on Saturday, the sheriff's office says it won't discuss any details of the case, such as how the car was found or how deputies searched for it. They say releasing further details would delay, stop, or interfere with its investigation. An investigation now in its 8th day. Also tonight, we're hearing from a fugitive recovery expert weighing in on the investigation. David Gambale believes the escapees are out of state. Gambale is a bail bondsman in Virginia. He says in his 25 years in the business, he's helped track down dozens of people who skip bail. He's surprised all four are still on the run. Gambale believes getting their faces to the public is one of the keys to catching them. The other, following the money. He says investigators must look into family and friends' bank account activity along with the inmates.
I believe they're out of the area. And they need to look into, the police need to look into any family, any friends out of the area. Someone's helping them.
Gambale says their first move would be to get supplies, then start to where their destination is. He says if they manage to get to another state, it would make things harder for law enforcement.